Hello, and welcome to another episode of Teach the People with Areshia. This week, I sit down with one of the original bad boys of Detroit, or maybe you know him a little bit better as Mr. McNasty. My guest this week is NBA All-Star and champion, Rick Mahorn. So pull out your pen and paper and get ready to look, listen, and learn on Teach the People with Areshia. Hey, Rick!
What's going on, Areshia? What's going on, Hamptonian?
Hamptonians in the house. Look at you, Rick Mahorn.
Well, listen.
Hampton's most famous grad.
No, I'm not. Wanda Sykes is. Wanda Sykes.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe you, me, Wanda, not necessarily in that order.
Well, you know, I'm a little bit older than everybody, so I guess I am one of the founding fathers.
Now, Rick, you're not that old.
Listen, I went to the Institute. I'm an institutionalized guy.
Well, you know, what is it? H-I-U, I love it, I love it, I love it.
No, it's H-I.
Oh, y'all didn't have the U yet?
No U. That U didn't come until years later after I left, boy. We were H-I. We were Hampton Institute. We were the Pirates. Well, we're still the Pirates, but
we are still the Pirates.
That's it. I love H-I. That's all I know when I go down there. As long as I get stuff that says Hampton, I don't know. I can't. I ain't with the U yet.
I wore my sweatshirt just for you.
Well, it looks good. You know, I got blue on just for you.
Well, thank you. And it looks good too. Yeah. Rick, hold on. When you were at Hampton, did y'all have class names?
Yes, we did. Ubiquity is my class.
Ubiquity.
Mm-hmm.
I am an ogre.
Oh, you're an ogre. What year
was ogre 9.
9. See, they always had all these different numbers after that. I'm like, boy, y'all done tagged it up to now, which, you know, since 1868, you got to have something, right?
You better tell it. You better tell it. Know your history. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, gotta know where you're from, baby. Gotta know where you're from.
How did you end up? Because you're from Hartford, Connecticut. So how did you end up in Hampton?
Oh, let's see. I didn't start playing basketball until my senior year in high school. And I had a growth spurt, from high school. In high school, from my junior to my senior year, I went from 5'11" to 6'6". But I was a good football player, and football was my thing. Mm-hmm. But when I was being recruited, I was being recruited high for football. But basketball was something that I started playing and I started to enjoy it. So Hampton didn't even come see me play. So we're talking 76, the bicentennial year. So 76, you got to go, wow, they didn't have all the internet we got now and all this stuff. People didn't come see you play. But somebody told one of my coaches or the coaches, Hank Ford and Wilson, that there was a player up there that they might want to be interested in recruiting. So they brought me and my mother down, and that was illegal back then. So she went with me. We went down there, was walking around the campus because school was out. And the girl that I went to school with, her name is Maria Curvin.
I knew
and she yelled out my. No, but because you know Hampton now, 10-to-1 ratio. But see, this was crazy to me because growing up in Hartford and going to an all-black high school, we didn't know it was anything about black colleges other than Tuskegee. That's all you would read about is Tuskegee in the books or Howard in the books. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, or Morehouse. But next thing you know, it was like Hampton. I didn't even know it was, other black colleges. So going there, my mother enjoyed the conversation of my eventual head coach. And my head coach was black. So it was like, okay, I'm going to come down here and see what it's like. Unbeknownst to me, I ain't know what I was in. I walked freshman orientation. I should have just went back home, but it was beautiful because it was there was so many beautiful, not only beautiful women, but beautiful people. That was the key to me because, it's like, okay, I went to all-black high school, of course, but going to all-black college, it was something that, okay, to me, it was a pride thing because, I was the civil rights baby, 68. My sisters and my brother were getting me out of school to get away from the riots. So I've been, when I see what's happening today, it's just nothing but what I saw when I was a kid.
Wow. So now let's unpack that a little bit because that's a lot. Now, so first, when you said when you saw your friend there, everybody says they go to Hampton for the pretty ladies. Ding. But
I didn't listen. I didn't know.
oh,
So
you
that
didn't know before you
I
got there.
didn't know anything about Hampton. Only thing I knew about Hampton is that they flew me and my mother down there. I'm 6'8", went from 5'11" to 6'6", and growing, still growing. So I'm 6'8",
Mm-hmm.
awkward. And I go down there, and they brought me and my mom down. My mother really enjoyed the conversation, and so my mother was a heavy influence in what I've done in life. Where she said, "Oh, you need to go there because these young and growing up without a dad, these two men." Robert Wilson and Hank Ford, they kind of like, molded me who I am today. But it was like, okay, and being a kid from this, a welfare kid, no male influence, it was like kind of hard to get someone to, Ricky, you can't do that. Ricky, you can't do that. It was like trying to learn how to be a man and navigate the waters. It was really, frustrating my first year. But,
Did I read that you're the youngest of four?
I'm the baby. Yeah, I'm the
You're the
youngest of
baby.
four. So I
So
had an older.
you didn't start by playing basketball. You were a football player.
Yes.
You have a growth spurt senior year in high school.
Well, over a summer.
Over the summer, you
Yeah.
managed to get recruited to play for the number one HBCU in all the world, as far as
For
I'm
sure.
concerned.
Nah.
And then and so how do you make that transition, right? So you go away, you go to Hampton, and then now you're being recruited by the league. Like how did that happen?
Well, see, the crazy thing, I was a better football player. I was recruited. I made All-American in football. I was a high school All-American defensive end. I was being recruited by all the Big Ten schools. Were back then, I got letters from Notre Dame, letters of intent from Michigan, letters of intent from Indiana, even USC, schools like that. So football was my niche, and I was pretty damn good at what I did. But it was like being in Connecticut. The weather was like, oh man, we played a game, Thanksgiving game, which is our rival game against Hartford Public High School. It was so daggone cold out there. Man, I was like, do I really want to do this again? Do I want to do this? Be out here in this weather? And it ended up good. Like I said, I could have played two sports at Hampton. And that was the fun about going to Hampton, because that was something that, hey, I could play basketball, I could play football. But like, being recruited wasn't like I was being recruited football wise, but not basketball. So I figured, hey, like I said, what the heck? I tried it, and it worked out well.
Wait, so you played football and basketball for Hampton?
No,
You went to Hampton strictly to play basketball.
No, I went there to play. I could play both. It was like, all right, coach, talking to the coaches, I said, you know what? I'm going to come here and try basketball one year, just to get away from football for a year. But I want to try out for the football team next year. So it wasn't like I was restricted to playing one sport particular, but I could have played both.
Interesting. Now, let me ask you this, because you are a graduate of an HBCU and former NBA star. We hadn't gotten all that yet.
I ain't no star, no NBA.
Rick, let me tell you something. I looked, and first of all, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but you got a reputation. And I saw some video footage of you.
Well, guess where I learned that from?
I
learned that from Hampton.
Oh, really? They were playing.
Oh, yeah. Because especially if
they
you
were
played
bad boys in Hampton.
Listen. When we played Norfolk State, Virginia Union, go down the Johnson C. Smith, Fayetteville, you had to bring your stuff. If you didn't, let me tell you, it was this one place that it was called Section 33 in St. Paul, which was a school in, St. Paul, pardon?
St. Paul, Minnesota?
No, St. Paul in Virginia. It was a school, St. Paul College.
Okay.
And that was one of the schools that we played in the CIAA back then. And it was a smaller gym. It was like the first 5 rows, and it was just 5 rows on the baseline. It was in Lawrenceville, I think Lawrenceville, Virginia. And it had orange clay, red clay, or whatever. And you get there and you go like, wow, why did it, I'm sitting there going like, okay, so it was no frills, but coming from where I grew up and sharing a room with my brother or things like that, this was like something different for me. Riding on a bus. These were things that, and you go stay up in the dorms. We didn't stay in hotels. We stayed in, they always had a visiting team's dorm where you would stay. So we stayed in there, but I'm up here looking at, we play in Lawrence and it's this section 33. And these dudes were mean, like they're football players. So they're sitting there talking smack. So they're like maybe a foot away from the court. So it's like you could just run out of bounds and they can hit you. Boy, I mean, they were talking so much smack. I looked around at them. I said, if y'all say one more damn word, I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna hit the biggest dude because I knew he was gonna be the one I'm gonna have to fight to make sure. But
Hey.
the physicality of my game came from where I went to school at.
Blame it on Hampton.
I'm not blaming it on Hampton. That was from Weaver High School. When I played in high school, playing our rival teams, this was like, hey, it's like, it was competitive to say the least, because it was either, you're gonna lose or the team became physical, and if you didn't show up, sit there. We playing against teams from New Haven, Bridgeport, which were basically the same, other black high schools around.
What do you think of all the players now that are even considering going to HBCUs, like some of the elite players taking a look and saying, maybe an HBCU is the way to go?
I'm so glad of it. When I heard that Bowl was it no it was Thon Maker's brother was going to attend Howard, and I said, oh man, this is great. And the way that Chris Paul has been so vested in historically black colleges, it's like, before a lot of things, no opportunities were for the best basketball players. A lot of times I look at the guys like Earl Lloyd, who went to West Virginia State. Nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about the Willis Reeds that went to Grambling, or the Pearl Monroes that went to Winston-Salem State, or Ben Wallace at Union, or Oakley from Union. Nobody really paid them attention until we got into the league. But the thing is, I always told guys, why not be a big fish in a small pond instead of being a little fish in a big pond? Because you go to Kentucky, you go to North Carolina, these teams absorb so many, the best players. So why not be the best player and bring some notoriety to a historically black school, but not only a black school, but a small school that needs that kind of push and the educational value where people come see the games. It's like when you go, I went to go see a Hampton game, and it was kind of like a sparse crowd, because, it's like, it wasn't like when we played where, people was coming to see the game. But now with the social media, I just think it's exciting that you can find a guy, a top 25 recruit coming into Hampton or Howard or Tuskegee or Morehouse. That becomes exciting. Now fans want to go see that person.
Yeah. That's so funny when you say with the social media, because when I was in school, I would go to all the basketball games, but I wasn't necessarily into basketball. It's just where all the cute boys are going to be hanging out.
So wait a minute. Now you talk about me with all the girls.
Well, Hampton is known for just having beautiful black people.
Very much so.
I ain't saying. Just kidding.
If I had to do it all over again,
would you do it?
Yes, I would.
You do it.
Was
Me too.
the best experience of life. It says education for life. It taught me how to not only just deal with people, but to deal with my people. And that's dealing with African Americans. And we come in all colors, all shades. And that's where you go like, okay, when you look at the Spike Lee movies of the movies where it was like, okay, light-skinned girls, dark-skinned girls, red bones, whatever they wanted to do. It was a lot of that there. It was a lot of, those are we kind of shun it away, but we don't grasp that we're all people, because then we already identify us from each other, light skin, dark skin, instead of saying we're all Black and we're all African American, and let's just enjoy what we can as a group.
I remember one of the things that I liked most, and it really, coming from Atlanta, you got to see a lot of like really affluent Black people. But when you got to Hampton, woo, that was something different. Kids were out on the harbor.
Listen, it was so different that, the first time, after I had to stay down there for Christmas, first Christmas I ever missed from being home, and we're playing in these tournaments, you get the kids coming back, the students coming back, and they were upset because they didn't get a car. They were upset because they didn't get this. But when, coming from a place where you didn't have, I was just glad to get a meal ticket. That was the best thing that, when you get to Hampton or a place, a warm place to go.
Yeah.
But then you find that, well, my father didn't get me a car. I'm very upset. And I'm sitting there going like, dude, you get an education. What it was, just because you didn't get a car, I know you figure you're privileged, but sometimes you have to work for what you get.
I got a car.
All right, well, this is over. Let me put a button.
No. I don't even make it sound like that. But it's like the thing you live for. You get to move off campus after freshman year, you can have a car because they don't even let you have it. When I was there, you couldn't even have a car freshman year. But like Christmas for sophomore year, yes, sir, I got a new car. I needed it.
A new car at that.
I did.
Do you know I didn't get a car until I got into the NBA, and it was a used car.
Well, I was gonna say, technically, it's the first and only car that I got fresh off the lot. Like since then, I've been very frugal about cars because the kind of car I want, I can't always afford. So I got to get the certified pre-owned. But let's stop talking about my financial state. Look, maybe if I hadn't gotten that car in college, I'd have what I wanted today.
Yeah.
Look at the difference. You have the car you want today, and
listen, I'm frugal too, so it doesn't last forever. It's just the fact that, when I first got in the league, I had bought a 78 Cadillac used, had 15,000 miles on it, but I was riding because you know what? It was my car, and I bought it in cash. So,
they say a Cadillac is the best ride on the road, no matter when you live.
Well, women love riding in the Cadillac, boy. But that was back then in the early '80s. You figure, okay, but I did buy a Mercedes, the first one I wanted, and that was beautiful. But that was because my paycheck got a little higher.
I bet it did. So let's talk about that a little bit, because one of the things I read, and this will show you the art. You talked about, I read an article where you talk a lot about being influenced by Elvin Hayes. I went to school with both his daughters. One of them was one of my closest friends.
Well, Elvin wasn't my influence. You know who was my influence? My daddy was Wes Unseld.
Yes.
That was, until, he just passed this year, kind of heartbreaking, especially in this COVID situation that we're in. So I couldn't attend, but it was like his influence for me to become a professional in this league was just so great. And I miss him to this point. I still would call him and say, hey, Pops, what's happening? But you know what? He taught me how to be a pro in this league, how to handle your business. So when you talk about the physicality and how I used to play, I basically learned from him. I already knew how to fight, but it was just the fact that I can deal with Elvin Hayes, where he told me who in this league was tough, who he had to worry about. And I'm sitting there going like, really? That guy is soft? All of a sudden I see, oh man, I'm about to get him. So, come physical, and especially in the NBA, you had to hold your own. And I held my own, and that's what it was all about.
So now looking back and seeing that the game is played in a very different way, it's still somewhat physical. We're not talking about the Bad Boys of Detroit days, which, by the way, was back when I used to watch a little basketball. Rick, this is the craziest thing. I saw a compilation of Rick Mahorn fights on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You need to send me that link.
You are a bad boy enough that they have put together a reel of altercations during the playoffs with you.
Well, you want to know something? Can I be frank on this?
No, you could be Rick though. Tell me.
I could be Rick. I ain't taking no shit. Listen, I wanted my lunch money. I wanted your lunch money. I wanted to, I wanted to work. I played this game to work, and this is what I did. I brought it every night. If I'm gonna compete, I'm
Mhm.
gonna compete for 48 minutes the whole time.
Well, I did read that about you, that you leave it all out on the floor, that
Yes,
you
I do.
that you put your all into the game. Do you pay for it now though, physically?
I'm going through, getting older. Shoot,
Mhm.
you don't feel it till you get older. You're in the best shape of your life during your whole career, and I was blessed to play 20 plus years in this league.
Mhm.
And I wanted to, you ain't gonna walk in the same way you walk out. So, I deal with some back issues. That's really about it. It ain't like I got bad knees, knee replacement, hip replacements, but that's everyday people that do
I
that
was about to
same
say,
thing.
honey, I might need some of that. But now,
Yeah.
Rick, so think about it. So you spent 20 years in the league as a player, and then you coached, right? You went on, you've coached in the league, you coached the WNBA, and you coached the Big Three, and got championships in all three.
Yeah, I was.
That's amazing.
That's called lucky. That's called believing in God, knowing what your path is about. Don't try to rewrite your path. You just got to keep going and keep the grind. And Aresha, that's all I did was keep the grind.
Did you know God had this for you though? When you think about it, is faith a big part of your life?
Very much so. I wake up every morning sending my family prayers. I wake up and my mother was very a God fearing woman. She was so positive, and I still got the little notes that she would send me in the mail. That's in my Bible that she gave me. So it's like my mother's always going to be a part of me, but also just to read little things the little notes that she would keep me positive. I remember being left unprotected after we won the championship and being picked up by Minnesota. My mother that day said, "You know what? God closes one door and opens up another."
That's right.
And I'm a firm believer in that because you feel it as dark days, but yet He's only putting you through so much that you can deal with. God only puts so much on your plate that you can deal with, and then all of a sudden that light comes through those clouds, and you go like, "Wow, that struggle wasn't that hard. Thank you so much, Lord, for giving me, the struggle to keep going." And that's what it is. It's inspiring to me. My faith is strong. God is, my first thing before I put my feet on the floor, I'm reading my prayers.
Amen. Amen. So that's got to be hard though too. Like, because I saw that you played for what, 4 different teams over the course of your career.
I don't know. I think it's the Bullets, Philly, Detroit, Nets. Yeah. Well, I went overseas. I went
And
overseas.
overseas.
Yeah.
So for the regular person, when we move from job to job, sometimes it's by choice, sometimes it's by circumstance or whatever. But when you move from one team to the next, was it ever your choice, or you just kind of had to go where you were playing?
Well, that's the business of basketball. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing, like you just said, you feel that when I was in Washington, my first 5 years, I bought a house. I'm thinking I established myself here, but boom, I got traded. That's the business of basketball. And that you go like, I just got traded to Detroit. Now I got to take care of all my affairs over here to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I could sell my house. Prepare myself to move up to Detroit and find a place to stay here. So you don't really anchor yourself in Detroit, especially if you're a player like I am. I always call myself I'm a role player. I'm a role player that can fit on any type of team. If you're looking for the mentoring, or if you're looking for a player that can give you the toughness that you need. So I finally did that in my life where I said, this is the business of basketball. You're either going to be traded or you're going to be a free agent, and you're looking for an opportunity to work. So I didn't establish myself, especially with my family. It's like, okay, let's go. We got to go back to Detroit. Let's go. We got to go to Italy. Let's go. But the money the money that you make provides a great living for you. So kind of like I didn't establish home until I stopped playing.
That's interesting. It's as you were talking about it, I was like, that sounds a lot like military families, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
not being paid at that same rate, but it's really the same thing because you got to pack up. And then before you said that, it never even occurred to me that ball players have to consider that stuff. You know, we figure y'all are privileged. Somebody else will pack up your stuff, move your stuff for you. You just jump on the jet and you go.
No, that's the movers. The movers come in. The movers come in and they make sure that this is what you're taking. They pack up everything and you move to that certain place. But that's how I've been in Michigan. This has been a part of my life where my family has grown up here in Detroit, the Detroit area, where they establishes this is home. So with my career now that I'm a broadcaster and also a community development guy, all of a sudden this is home. So I can be, even especially with this pandemic, this is the longest I've ever been home in my life. You know, you got to figure I've been home since March. And the fact of the matter, I'm always in a bag. I'm always going someplace, doing, playing either, a game, not playing a game anymore, but announcing a game, or I'm doing an appearance somewhere.
What's a color analyst?
A color analyst is a person that, is a person that can, we just analyze the game. And it's just the fact that it's a former player that's usually a color analyst in today's basketball. That's why you got guys like Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy. They're the color analysts. It's the play-by-play guy where you look at, but then it's the color analyst.
Got you. And you're on, so you're a bit of a celebrity again in the entertainment world now, because you have the radio show. I know you do the Bottom Line Sports Show on Sirius XM, and then you have other shows too, right?
Yes, I do. So it's what I said. It must be my Jamaican roots because my father's Jamaican, and so you figure I got 9 jobs.
You got 9 jobs. I got 9 jobs. Let me ask you this though. Dipping your toe into the acting world, what is Detroiters?
Oh my gosh, Detroit. Detroiters is a series that was filmed here in Detroit. It was about Detroit. And, they approached me and said, we're going to do a segment on what you did. But that's not the only thing I've been on. I mean, I've been on some
I know. You have a very extensive IMDb page.
Yeah, I didn't even know all that. I don't even, I got to.
You don't follow yourself?
I don't follow what? Wait, only thing that follows me is this big old butt I got behind me that I got to follow, that follows me.
Rick.
Hey, look, I'm a comedian at heart too.
Rick, we all have to choose our lanes.
Yes,
I'm a comedian in real life, right?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yes.
I'm actually a very big time comedian, Rick.
Oh, you are?
Me and Wanda tour together. No, Rick, no. But I do stand up. I mean,
you do?
when I'm not in a Zoom environment, yes.
I love it. I may have to start a movie or something, but be a creative.
So do you don't do stand up for real though? You're not a comedian.
I'm branching out.
Are you really?
Yeah, I have.
We thought a comedy tour together.
Well, it's not that I have a comedy tour. I'm hosting a comedy show November 1st.
Rick, are you booking me now?
Well, if I can book you, then you need to come on up here. It's in Toledo. It's in Toledo, Ohio.
Who's on the
show? See, I'm gonna have to send you that. I have to send you that.
It's low key?
It's low key right now. It's just something.
Well, I know some very big comedians in Ohio.
Oh, you do, huh?
Mm-hmm. We'll talk.
Okay,
we'll talk.
We'll talk. I'll have my people call your people.
I'm gonna call you when we get off this computer. All right. But I want to talk seriously. Tell me about your community development work. What do you do?
Well, it's not. I am the community ambassador for the Detroit Pistons. I'm also the director of alumni affairs with the Detroit Pistons. So the Detroit Pistons are my employer. So what I do is, things that I pride myself on is I have a scholarship that goes out every in February. Mm-hmm. We have the students across the state of Michigan compete for a scholarship. So the Pistons and myself, Palace Entertainment, the group, we all we sponsor, kids going to college. So those are part of the things that I do on that side, but also getting involved with the former players, the alumni, because a lot of times teams forget, how, the bricks, I always call it the foundation, that we've won 3 championships here. Why not, celebrate the guys that we do have and they're still alive instead of waiting till later.
So let me see this. But I saw that you did a PSA for voting, and I know that we have our elections upon us. Why did I also saw that you said that you started voting very early, and it was important to you. Number one, why was it so important to you coming up? Obviously, if you're moving into a career in basketball and entertainment, but also too, why do you stay involved in that initiative now? Why is that so important to you?
It's important to me because it's free. It's important to me that you have an opportunity to vote. It's not that it's free. It's something that it's your duty to vote. It's not just necessarily to vote on the national level. It's the local level that's important, because you want people that you believe in. You don't want to just sign the thing and say, okay, well, I'm just going to vote. No, be vested in your community, be vested into your state, because all these things take effect. Just because if you didn't get the right person for president, then let's vote the senators, let's vote the congressmen, let's vote the city council, let's vote the state. Those are the things that make a difference where you live in your community. So it frustrates me when I hear people that live, some people that I know that live in certain neighborhoods, they go, man, I ain't voting, I don't make a difference. No, you do make a difference. You thinking, and the mentality is you're thinking that you're here. You think that the voting is just for presidents only, but it goes across the board. It's like, get out and vote and make your vote count. That's the thing. And I learned that from growing up in the late 60s, and you see what's going on in civil rights, where blacks didn't even have African Americans didn't even have a chance to vote, or just have a chance to make a difference in something, because they always felt, they always thought nothing was going to happen for them. So this makes it happen for you. And if you go around complaining about different things, you have a chance to make a difference with a vote. And not only that it's free, it's your duty. I've talked to some players that's been in this league for some years, and I would say to them, did you vote? Oh man, I said, that's why they have absentee votes. That's why they do those things, so you can vote early, get your vote in early, and do your homework. You never have to think about it again. So that's why voting is important to me. And then, we made it a family gathering with the kids, and we all go vote. And it's like, yeah, this is fun, because you know what? We're making a difference.
That's right. That's right. When you see how things have shifted so much, I mean, obviously being born in the late 60s, and you see where we are today, we've had a Black president, we're about to have a female Black vice president. When you see the shift, are you looking, what does it look like from your perspective? Where does it look like we're headed?
I could tell you, in my lifetime, I never thought we'd have a African-American president. That was first and foremost. When that happened, when Barack Obama won the election, I was like, sat there and I cried, and I looked at my sons and said, man, I never thought this would happen in my lifetime. And I mean, really, in my lifetime. I said, maybe it'll happen when, nobody's going to know what race we are anyway, because we're the human race. But it's like, you have blacks marrying whites, and nobody knows what the melting pot is going to be. So we don't know. But that was something to me. I'm sitting there going like, wow, that's so beautiful that it happened in my lifetime, not in my mother's lifetime,
right.
Not in my sister, not in one of my sisters that I lost, not in her lifetime, but it was in my lifetime that I saw this. And it said, okay, maybe we got a lot of pressure on ourselves. We got to go out and do the things and do things that's going to keep it going. Mm-hmm. That's the key to me as we move forward as far as voting, but also getting a chance and opportunity as things start to shift, and seeing what I saw in the 60s as a young man, and seeing what I see in my 60 years now. I'm sitting there going like, man, Did anything change? Or did someone give somebody some power? All of a sudden it's starting to go like, we have a divide. We have a divide where it's like, we're the human race. It's like I mean, yeah, it's systemic racism. And, people will treat me different just because I'm Rick Mahorn, the basketball player. But do you treat me different? Do you treat me differently in the neighborhood that I live? That, oh, he's okay because he's a basketball player. No, I mean, it's still, I'm a African-American man living in a neighborhood that, I make a good living to make sure that my kids are safe or whatever. But it's also the ones that don't have that kind of privilege that you want them to gain the respect. Because, when I was growing up, what was I looking at? I was looking at my mother cleaning the house, cleaning the houses and making sure that we have food on the table, living from meal to meal. That was scary.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see the players now that are stepping forward and have a voice and are exercising that voice in the social justice movement and arena, are you encouraged by that? Do you think
yes,
that's appropriate?
Yes. Because when you figured it was stated where a news reporter just said shut up and dribble, which I thought was kind of like what we had to deal with growing, playing in the NBA. Because if you said something outside the norm, then people are going to look at you differently. Let's look at Mahmoud, who every time I see him, I just love his spirit, because you're sacrificing something that you can make a living. And a lot of us back then didn't say anything. It wasn't like we, dipped our toe in the politics. But now these young men and young women are able to stand on a platform and really stand up for something. And, it's like, okay, they'll walk and march, now all of a sudden you see Black Lives Matter, but you also see where they're using their social media. That's the key. When Barack Obama won, it was more like his social media, the way that he can attack it and the way to use it to his advantage. Now the players have their own platform where they can, talk about social injustice that is so positive that, okay, we need to get out and vote. And it's just like I said, it's just not the national level; it's the local level. It's the prosecutor. It's
the judges,
the judges.
It's the state legislators.
It's the gambit where you can say, I can make a difference if I just get out here and do what I need to do as a person, to be a voter. And that's because that's empowering. When I tell my kids, go vote. It's nothing. Back in the day, it's like, ain't gonna change much. That's the first thing they're gonna say, ain't gonna change much, back in the day. Yeah, it makes a difference now.
Oh, now it changes. You get canceled in 30 minutes. It changes real quick. Now, also too, as a in sports radio, you are actually, there's more of a conversation. I listen to your show, and you all are able to have more open conversations about race now. And I would say more in the last 4 or 5 years than ever before. When you say, like, it used to be kind of taboo, you stick to sports, but now you all have a platform too to have those conversations.
Yes, we do. And I think Sirius Radio gives us a great opportunity to share that with our with folks that are listening to us. I thought, that you have to take initiative, because things shift.
Right.
And if you ain't in that same shift, you're going to be left behind. It's the fact that you stand up for yourself as an African American, even as whatever, as a human being, you stand up for yourself. I'm not going to disrespect someone that's voting a different way. That's just on them. That's their prerogative. That's their human. That's what they do. I mean, we have the right. We have the right of choice. You can be a Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care. But use your vote to make a difference. It doesn't matter who you support or whatever, where you seeing people go around here, I'm this, I'm that. Nah, I ain't got time for that. I mean, that's cool. Stay where you are. Do what you do. I got some friends who are Trump supporters. I got friends who are Biden supporters. Do I love them differently? No, I don't. That's just like if they step out of bounds, then if they come with some BS, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna check them.
That's
Because
right.
you have to have your fact checks. And if you don't, you're looking like you believe in everything that's on the media, or this is what they're saying. No, see them books behind you, get them books and really read of what's going on.
That's right.
What's going on as far as, your equal rights, your civil rights. Those are the things that make you go like, oh, okay, all right, now what happened?
I think that we have gotten so far away from the commonness of being humans, and especially being Americans, right? There's certain things that are just common to us. And I don't think there is a such thing as common sense anymore, because we seem to have left all that. I have just come to a place where I believe you can have your own beliefs. And like you said, you can have your choices. Just don't let them lead to my demise.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think if the goal is that you believe a certain way and you want a certain rule of law to stand, as long as we're not killing other people to get there, then I think we've got to have, there's got to be some middle road. And I think we've lost that middle road.
Oh, that middle road I don't even think it's there. I think
It's not.
we got to we're trying to redo that road again, where you can look on the other side and say, you know what? That's right for the people. That's right for everyone, not necessarily
Nobody
one.
across the aisle anymore.
No, it's more like it's either on this side or that side. I mean, that's crazy.
My sister played basketball her whole life, all the way through college. And she said something once, and I always think about it when we think about the state of America today. She always says, attitude reflects leadership. And I think that where the United States is right now and what the climate is right now is a direct reflection of the type of lead. And I don't mean just one person. I think the overall type of leadership that we have.
Yes, I mean, and I agree with your sister, because that's what it is. It's about what's our attitude. It's like if something is wrong, then speak up on it. Don't just shun it away, saying that you have all these looters are doing this and doing that. No, you speak up on it and say, it's not right. We have to try to change and make an adjustment to make it work for everyone, not just one side or the other side. Let's make it right for everyone.
That's right. That's right. Well, Rick, let me ask you this before I let you go, because I enjoy following you. I enjoy watching you, and you've always been so entertaining, even when you were a bad boy, or what do they call it? Thump and bump? What was that?
It started out with Beef Brothers.
Beef Brothers?
Yep, me and Jeff Rulin and myself, who was you talk about the Beef Brothers in Washington, D.C., the Washington Bullets. It was the Beef Brothers. Then I went from a Beef Brother to a bad boy, from a bad boy to Bump and Thump with Charles Barkley. Yep.
But I gotta ask you, why do they call you McNasty?
Well, that came from Johnny Most, the great Johnny Most for the Boston Celtics. And he would be on his radio show. He was the play-by-play guy and also the color analyst. So he was just, pro Boston, period. Look at them. They're just McNasty and McFilthy. And it was like, shoot, I wear that tag all day. It was fun for me, because my friends till this day, it was like, you weren't tough in school. It's like, yeah, okay, don't get it twisted. It wasn't like I didn't fight against Norfolk State and all that craziness down there in Hampton.
Norfolk State. So what's next for Rick Mahorn?
What's next for me? Maybe I'm dealing with this COVID, making sure that everybody is safe.
Yeah.
But also, what's next for me? I really don't know. The sky's the limit. I'm 62. I feel,
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 62. 1958.
Look at you.
Yeah, and tell people.
Don't crack.
Tell people, this is my real hair.
That's your hair?
And it's not, and I have some gray, but you ain't tall enough to see it.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Really good. I mean, 62. Let me tell you, as I get up there, 62 is not that old.
I'm on the other side of 50. I'll say
you are on the other side of 50. I'm not there yet. I still have 50 on the horizon, but honey, 40 is definitely in the background. But I always ask people when we start talking about the pandemic, what's the one thing you've learned from this experience?
That I can stay home and enjoy it. A lot of times, like I said, I live inside of a suitcase every day. If I'm home for 5 days, that's really good. But to be home since March, knowing that you can be around your family, knowing that you can love everybody. They may get on your nerves. You can't run or hide from your dogs because they'll sniff you out. But I enjoy being home. I enjoy being home. It's fun. I call it Hotel Mahorn. That's what I love about it. Hotel Mahorn. Hey, I need some food. What's up?
Like, Hotel Mahorn. We'll leave the light on for you. Well, we did it again. I want to thank Rick Mahorn for joining us on Teach the People. I learned a lot and laughed a lot. I hope that you did too. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and come back next week for another episode. But until then, remember, each one, teach one.